HANA security. Okay, we are going to discuss about the HANA security part. Even though security we will not be owning, but so we can also deal the security related topics as well. So security is a protecting the important data from unauthorized access. So which means in the all the data which is coming from the SAP applications, right? Which is coming from the SAP applications and also some other part, other clients tools which we are using. Every data which is coming to the database level, it is storing at the database level only. If someone hacks your database, entire applications also will be gone. Why? Because all the data residing inside of the database only. So here HANA, so every product there is a security mechanism, protecting mechanism. Same as like in HANA also there is a protecting mechanism for to avoid the thefting the data, also protecting the important data from the unauthorized access. So and also every company should meet the compliance, should meet the security standards as adopted by the company. So this should be required, right? So same in the HANA also, SAP is providing there are some security related features here. User and role management features here. Role management, user and the role management feature here. So authorization feature, right? Then authentication here, right? So authentication, authorization and authentication. Then encryption of so data volume means persistency layer here. Then encryption of the network layer, network level encryption of network layer level. So there are the multiple authentication features, means security related features SAP introduced in the HANA database as well here. HANA database as well here. So, so if you need access to the HANA database here, definitely you need a user and related roles are required. So the role will restrict the the functionalities of the system. The role will restrict the functionalities of the system here. So definitely you require the role user, then role you required, then privileges, right? So privileges also you required here. Privileges means so right to authorizations. Privileges means authorizations to the respective functionalities. So directly we can assign the privileges to the user or role to the user. All privileges we can assign to the role we can assign to the user. This is the best practice. So if the user is onboarding in your system, then definitely he required the related role. Without role, he cannot do anything in the system. So then roles we have to create. It depends upon the functionality, the multiple roles we have to create in the systems here, right? So that we have to do that one here. So whenever user onboarding, then you need to create a users. There is a security folder here, right? Just click on there are the normal, some users by default, some users are available. These are the system internal users. In that system user also available. That's why you are able to connect to the system user here, right? So here we can right click and click on the create the new user here. New technical user we can create it here. So username, you can give the username, right? Then these are the authentication features. Authentication features here. Authentication features. So database user identifies who is accessing the database. Means authentication is required. Authentication, the verified through a process is called the authentication. So user is there, then definitely you should require the either user ID, password is required, or the so some certificate is required, or logon tickets are required, or SSO is required. Multiple authentication methods are there here. So HANA supports the following authentication methods in the systems here. Authentication methods. So one is the Kerberos user ID password based. The password one is the password based authentication method. How you are authenticating to the database using the password. Some users will tell like, I'm using the SAML2 mechanism, means SSO concept. I am authenticating the DB using the SAP logon tickets, SAP logon tickets here, right? Then, so I'm authenticating some people like they will tell like X.509 certificates, X.509 certificates here. Some people will tell you like, so user Kerberos mechanism here, Kerberos. These all are the authentication mechanisms. Features are there. These are the following authentication methods are there in the database level, right? Following authentication authentication methods are there here, right? So that is the authentication method. Means if you want to log into the system, you need not only user, whether you need the password or you need the SAML. There is a third party tool authentication identity provider is required here. Means we need to integrate this HANA users into the third party systems, so that third party subscription, if you take it out, then we can authenticate it here. Otherwise, logon tickets, otherwise Kerberos mechanism, external certificates, then certificate. These all are the different type of certificates here. So generally, this is a HANA database. Normally, business users, they won't directly connect to the database. Why? Because what they will do in the database, in the application level, they will do the transactions, right? So normally, this is the authentication method. They will use this one here. So they will use the system, maybe user ID, password, they will use it. Then they will log in. So they only name and authentication method, you can log into the system, but I'm not going to assign the any privileges or anything. Why? Because let's see what will happen. Now I created the basis user here, right? So now I will log in with the basis, and whatever the password I said, I can log in with that one. So then I will reset the password here. Okay, so I reset the password. Maybe someone is not in the mute. Okay, so I reset the password of the user here. So I connected through basis user. I connected through basis user. This is the basis user here, right? See, basis user in the bracket, it will tell you the which user you connected here, right? Then whenever you open here, let's see. So you will not able to open. Why? Because you don't have the required privileges. You are only authenticated. You just authenticated, but if you try to open anything, you are unable to open. But because reason, you don't have the required privileges. You don't have the required privileges here. You don't have the required privileges to. So this you don't have the required privileges here to authenticate it here, right? This is the main thing here. You don't have the required privileges here. So that is the main thing here. So which means you created the user, but you have not assigned any authorization or any role to the users here. So only user is authenticated via password when he is trying to access some functionalities in the database level, he is unable to do, which required the authorization. So it's required the authorization concept here, right? It's not only authenticated via password, but here they required the authorization concept is required. Authorization concept is required. Authorization is required when user using the some client interface like HTTP, JDBC, ODBC to access the database, he required this, some privileges are required. Authorizations means privileges here. So he entered into your home, but is unable to touch, is unable to access the anything in your home. Why? Because we should give that type of privileges to him, that person, that guy, so that he can able to access anything in the system here, anything in your home, right? You just allowed from the gate. That's it, right? Then you are not given any privileges. The privileges can be granted to the user directly or indirectly through roles, right? So privileges we can assign to the user here. So whenever user try to access anything in the database level, definitely HANA will perform the authorization check via role or privileges. It will perform the authorization check. The respective role or privileges are found, then HANA will grant the access to the database object. You can able to access it here. You can able to access it here. So authorization is called the privileges here. So which means you need to assign the respective privileges in the here. You need to assign the respective privileges here. So they are the some privileges are there. They are the some privileges, right? So authorization are also called the privileges here, right? They are the types of privileges in the system here. In the HANA system, they are the types of privileges. Types of privileges in the HANA here. One is the system privileges. System privileges here. Second one is the object privileges here. System privileges, object privileges, and analytical privileges. Analytical privileges, the package privileges. Then, so application privileges. Okay, application privileges. Then privileges on users. Privileges on users here. So these are the types of privileges we have in the database here. System, object, analytical, package, application privileges, and privileges on users here. So system privileges. So which means system level access. Suppose there the some default privileges are there which we got it as part of the installation. As part of the installation, you got the some privileges from the system. They're the default privileges. Suppose the person wants to access the some backup, then backup admin is the auditor, then auditor privileges. Then you can assign the catalog, you can assign the so schema, export, import some certificates, role admin, monitor. Suppose he is the monitoring person. Then you can assign the monitor role here. Then you can assign the monitor admin role here. So like that, we can assign the privileges to the user here. Now you assigned the system privileges, right? Now, if you try to access it here, if you ask user to access something here, he can able to access. He can able to access the system, some functionalities in the system here, right? So like that, you can assign the some other functionalities backup related. Then you can able to access the deploy backup related things in the system here, right? You can able to access the backup related things. Now you can see. Now you can able to access the so HANA Studio administration tabs. Previously, you were unable to access it. Why? Because so he is not the authorized. He is only authenticated, but he is not the. He don't have the required privileges. He don't have the required privileges to access. So now also see, he is unable to access the alerts because of the insufficient privilege. Insufficient privileges. Since you all are accessing the using the system user is the super user. That's why you are unable able to access every functionality in the database level. But in the real time, some functionalities will be restricted based upon your role, right? They will restrict it. So then in this case, you are unable to access the alerts, which means you don't have the alerts privileges. You don't have the alerts privileges here. Then you can go to the here. What is the alert? So alert privileges are some other auditing, some other so privileges you required here to access the so the data you required the some privileges are required here, right? That is the main thing here. If you remove this one, he is unable to access anything in the database level. If you remove it here, then if you try to access him, if you try to access him here, see, he is unable to open the editor. He don't have the required privileges. So the what it is restricting here, these privileges are restricting to access the database level objects. He is able to touch it. If you give the privilege, then he can access, he can able to so do something in the database level here, right? So here system privileges, object privileges means object database level tables, table level access. Some people, they only, suppose like we are the administrators, technical, we only require the access to the all the tabs in the, so all the tabs in the studio level we required to monitoring purpose for administrator the HANA database. But some development teams, functional teams, they require the access to the one table, specific tables only. They don't require. In that case, so then you have to go to the object privileges. Then directly you can select the object, which table you require, that which table you want to give the access here, right? That related schema, you can select it. That related table, you can select it. Tables, which table you want to give the access. Then respective table, I want to give the access. Only select access, or so drop also, or alter also. Then select it. Then you can give it here, then he can able to perform the respective things here. He is also see cannot grant the privileges, alter privileges, we should not give it. Database is complaining here, right? So that has been done it here, that has been occurred here. So like that we assigned the privileges here, right? So then we have the object means table level data level permissions here. This is only system related functionalities. Analytical privileges, analyticals, which means developers will create the some analytical privileges in the content tab. In the content tab, they will create the some analytical privileges. They will do the some attributes, analytical privileges, the many things they will create it here. So one developer developed it, the same access is required for the other developers also, which means you need to create the give the access to the analytical privileges as well. Analytical privileges also you need to give the access to them here, right? So it's used to read the data, access the data, read access on the data, right? Attribute views, calculation views, the privileges during the query processing. Then analytical privileges are row level data access or anything, then you can give it here, right? If you have anything here you created as part of your configuration here, any packages or anything, suppose like training package I'm creating here, right? So training you created. Inside of the training, maybe I will create the attributes. So that training, maybe developers will do this one. You no need to worry, right? So here they will use the some joins object. What table we have? Right? So this table has the some statistics views and everything here. So I have selected this one. I want this table should be joined and should be activated here. Okay. So activate, save and activate. Activation error. Completed with the errors. With errors. That's fine. So then he created then we can create the, so analytical privileges here. Privilege means, so authorization, this one authorization here means actually this analytical privilege, they will join the two tables into the one table. They will join it here. They will join it here. They will join it here. So that, so we can add this training privilege to the here, finish it, done. So you created the role as well here. Analytical privileges also you created. That's done. Okay. So now you can just go to the here analytical privileges. Then you can able to act. You can give the permissions to the, you can give the permissions to the respective, the whatever you created the analytical privileges. You can give the access to the different another user. You can give it here. Another user you can give it here. Another user you can provide it here. That's the thing here, right? So that one you can do that one here. Analytical privileges here. So this kind of things we can do it here, right? So then package privileges means the package privileges are used to provide the authorizations to the actions on the individual packages. You created the some packages, right? Here you created the some packages, jet training, something you created the some packages here, right? So just you can assign the package, just you can assign to the them, then you can able to read that package. So analytical privileges, application privileges, so application level, so maybe ANA access related applications and everything. The packages on the users, so application, the privileges on the users here. So which means SQL privileges granted by the user, by own user or debugger access, we can use it here. So which means the most frequently usable privileges this is system are object privileges. These are the main thing for the users are required here, right? This is the whoever trying to access only specific type of things, they need access to this as well. Sir, every user, do we need to give this kind of things always? Because if I want to create the one user, last 10 minutes onwards, I'm giving the system privileges, object privileges, analytical privileges. Do I need to give for each and every user here? Instead of that, privileges you can directly assign to the user, or also you can also what you can do here, you can create a one role here. In that role you can assign the privileges. So whenever the user joins, maybe the z underscore the basis person, this role you are creating here. As part of this role, what you are going to do, you are going to assign the some of the, so some of the functionalities to the users here, some of the functionalities to the users, right? Some of the objects. So basis user, right? So basis related functionalities, basis related schemas. So some other things you are going to assign to the users here, right? So then, so analytical privilege, those things you are assigning, you are creating as a role. Then in this role, you have already privileges, all privileges are already available. Then whenever you create a new user in the system, whenever you create a new user in the system here, so new user in the system. So directly you no need to give the all those things here. Just go to the granted roles. There is a role z underscore basis. Just you assign it. Then assign the, so the required row authorizations to the user, right? Then we can able to perform the all those things. See, simply in a minute we have completed the user creation. The respective role also assigned. The role means collection of all the privileges are called the role, right? So in the role we assigned the all the privileges. So like that I can create the multiple roles, basis person joins, basis roles, developers, then functional, some other external users. Then I'm like that multiple roles I will create it, keep it ready. Whenever user joins, directly I will assign the role to the user. He can able to access the related functionalities in the system, right? This is the, so roles, role management here. This is the roles. So roles also we can create it. By default, there are the some roles are available. We want to use this role, you can use it. If you don't want to use this roles, then you can assign, you can create the one custom role here. Then you can assign to the users. You can assign to the users here. You can assign to the users here, right? So that is the main thing here. Okay. So you can assign to the, so role to the users here. So which means users directly we can assign the privileges to the users. It is a time taking process. Why? Because every user we need to go to the system, we need to go to the here. If you assign it, then that's the problem. But if you assign the single role to the user, why? Because role contains the collection of privileges, object, system, analytical. Then user can able to perform the respective operations in the systems. Respective operations in the systems here, right? So to access the HANA database, users are required. Depending upon the security policies, the users are required here, right? So in that users also, they are the, some users are the system users. They are the technical DB users. They are not humans here. System, sys, repo, these are the system users. They are not users, right? So some users are real users. So two types of users here, technical users and real users. Real users means which user who wants to work in the database need a database user. He is the real person to work in the HANA database level. We, right? That is the we are the real users. Yeah, the standard users are there. So that real users, we are the real users in the database here, right? We can create the user, we can create the user, grant the user's roles, all those things we can perform it in the under the security folder. Under the security folder, you have the users creations and roles also you required, right? So first of all, whenever the new builds or something is happened, the roles you have to define it. Maybe security, right? So maybe there is a separate security team, the SAP security team, they will they will own the database also. They will create the multiple roles in the database level also. Why? Because here the security operations are very less. Why? Because only we, our development teams, will get the access to the databases. Why? Because users, the business users, they won't get the access to the database because of they will not work on the database level. They will only work on the SAP application level. They will work on it. So SAP means there we have the SAP also, we have the application also, we have the security. To log into the SAP system, you need the SAP user ID is required, SAP password is required, respective roles are required, authorizations are required. There also there is a different concept. Here also there is a different concept here. Only specific people like who are monitoring and administrating the databases that we required here. So security here, right? Security. So here, security features here, right? The security features, so it's not only users and then there are some security features here. Password policy. Suppose if you want to set the password policies for the users, the minimum password length, it contains the uppercase, lowercase letters, then you can choose it here, right? Suppose if the system user is locked, within 30 minutes, the user should be unlocked automatically. Then you can, so you can set this one as well here, right? So the number of last passwords, maybe, so last 5 passwords, we should not use it, something like that, right? That is also, we can set it out. That is also, we can set here the number of passwords. Approach should go mute. So last passwords. Then number of logon failed attempts. So then these are the password restrictions, password policies here. How we want to set the password policy for your organization, right? That is depends upon the, your organizations will define, right? That is your wish, right? Suppose if you set the one password, tomorrow also you want to reset the same password, then that is not applicable. Why? Because you should not use the last 5 used passwords here, right? Like that you can make it here. No problem. I can set the same password then especially for the banking sector systems, they are concerned about the settings and everything here. Sometimes the people will put the some common passwords, right? So welcome, they contain in the password, they will contain the welcomes, and then the password they will contain the some guessable passwords, blacklist. So that passwords we can blacklist it. Suppose like London, welcome. Some people they will put like this here, right? So that if you use that passwords, it will be blacklisted. Blacklisted means you should not set your passwords. It contains the below words. Welcome, London. Some people they will set the different type of keywords. They will set it out, right? So we can keep it. We can, if you put that passwords into the blacklisted, so people cannot set passwords here. This type of passwords they cannot set it out, right? So like this. So and also SAML2 means this is the different the SSO configuration purpose that is not required, and data volume encryption. Encrypted data volume encryption here by default it will be encrypted only. Encryption, why? Because all the data, one copy of data is storing into the, this is the RAM memory as part of the save point interval. Data, one copy of data is saving into the from main memory to data folder level at OS level. So here all the sensitive data, passwords, sensitive data, so the confidential data, everything is coming to the here. Then the same copy of data it is storing into the DB level also. Is someone unknown hacker or someone log into the your database operating system level, he can able to, there is a chances to, he can view the data, right? He can view the, view means he can see the what is your confidential data, your passwords, bank passwords. You can able to see the data. Why? Because each and everything is storing into the database level in one of the table data folder level. So then you can able to see something, right? To avoid this kind of things, if you do the encryption here, so that only system can read that password, then outers they cannot view the password. It will be in the encrypted format, in the binary code format, 0 1 something like that binary code format. So that's why encryption of the data volume, security passwords here. And also we can also enable the auditing. Auditing also we can enable it here. Auditing means, especially for the banking sector systems, they will enable the auditing here. They will create the some auditing policies. Suppose like policy one. So suppose like policy one, what is this policy? So if any person, if they're trying to delete something, if any person they're trying to delete changes the adapters, they drop the adapter, any person they're trying to create it here, suppose example, that auditing will be recorded, successful or unsuccessful or anything, that should be recorded. If anything, then you can select the users and you can do that one here, right? One more audit policy I can create, like policy number 2. If anyone in the database level, suppose they are trying to delete something here, right? User management or something, all the actions, if anyone perform any actions in the database level, that should be recorded here, either successful, either unsuccessful, or both should be recorded here. Then I enable the auditing. At least one users we have to select it here. Which users you have to enable it here, right? Or you can also just exclude the system user, from the policy. Except system user, remaining all users information will be tracked now. Remaining all the users information will be tracked in the systems. So now auditing is enabled here. So which means whatever you do in the database level, if you are trying to delete something, if you are trying to create something, if you are do something, immediately, if you success or unsuccessful, then immediately your log will be recorded, your data will be recorded, your data will be recorded here. Means whatever you are doing as success or unsuccess, that will be recorded in the systems. That will be recorded here. That we can record in the systems here. Means the logs will be generated here continuously. So especially for the banking sector systems, so they will enable this kind of settings here. Why? Because it's a banking sector systems. Some people they will do differently, violating the policies. They will update their bank records and everything they will do. This kind of things during the auditing time, that will be enabled here. That's why we have to enable the auditing here. So if you enable the auditing, that audit records recorded into the somewhere. So that in the yearly ones they will do the auditing, they will go to the here and they will check what critical actions, deletions, drop, some update actions are performed by whom? This person. Then how you perform this action? Do you have any ticket number? Do you have any approvals? They will ask this kind of cross questions. Then you need to answer. If you are not answering and if you done without policy, without informing to the management, then you will be fired from the company, especially by the banking sectors. So carefully we need to perform anything you are doing. Why? Because each and everything will be recorded. Whatever you are doing, mouse click, doing something, changing something, means everything will be recorded in the
Any,
systems.
any audit report they are
They
extracting.
will, yeah, they will pull the auditing logs and they will present the audit reports.
Okay.
If you enable, right, definitely the logs will be recorded. So then what they will do, they will investigate it first of all. So okay, this person some critical activities have performed, so they will ask you the question, they will send an email, so what is the reason for performing? So this is part of the my duty only, this is the ticket number, I performed it. Okay, fine, that's fine, that is ignore. Then you don't prove the show proofs. Why? Because you performed as part of your daily duties only. Why? Because manager approved, you performed the duty, then you performed it. Then, then you can explain. You have any mail or anything, ticket, they will, you can explain it, that's fine. Why? Because some things, some settings we can change it with approval and everything. Some settings, you don't knowing to anyone, if you do the changes, they will ask you the, especially in the production systems, they will ask you the reason, proof. That time if you don't have any proofs, then they will question you. Maybe there is a maybe escalation, something like happens, why you changed it without informing. So like that, they may restrict the database level access, something like that. Okay, so that is the thing here. Password policies. Policies are very important. So how you want to set the policies are, I don't want the minimum 8 characters, 6 characters are fine. 8 characters means we don't get the much good words. So like fine. So then volume encryptions. Password policy, these things are important here. We can put more blacklisted passwords also. So that people are trying to set the same password. That will not be, that is in the blacklisted. So then they cannot set it out. They cannot use that password here. They cannot use that password here. So if they're trying to set something, they cannot use it. So it's a blacklisted password. It's a blacklisted password. Should be right characters, several levels occurred. So it should be blacklisted. Should be 8 characters, blacklisted. So multiple things will happen. So you have to set the not blacklisted passwords. That's the thing you need to define. So this is the security concept here. Normally, every organization, there is separate security team. They will take care of the security things and everything. You don't need to full work on the part. But better if you, it's good. It's a very add-on if you know the security as well, how to create the users, how to create the roles. So because here, so how now to assign these things, if you know, that's very good enough actually. Okay. If you want to perform something, definitely you need the required authorizations in the database level. Without this, you cannot able to access anything in the database level. That is the main important thing.
Ravi, any reports are there means to provide those report to the ABAP developer or functional team like in Oracle, we used to have AWR report and those kind of thing. So is there any reports are there those for the analysis purpose we are providing to them?
Above level, we will execute, right? That some reports, some security reports, we will execute in the above level, SAP level. That will pull the data from the database level only, right? So then that will be grab the some data from the database level. We can provide it. Yes, there are some reports that we can use it.
Any particular name interview point of view? I'm asking any
Which report
particular
you are looking exactly? In the
uh,
database
uh,
level or SAP level?
database level. I'm asking
Database
database
level auditing reports.
auditing report. Okay.
Database level, there is no auditing reports, only logs we can view it here. Maybe there are some queries, I guess we need to check that queries, but database level reports we cannot execute it. Only queries we can execute it to grab the some data here. Queries we can execute it to grab the some logs here. Suppose if you know the table name, then why? Because the data will be stored into the table name. Then using the query, database level means it's a queries only. SAP level means you can use the reports in the SA38 or SE38, we can grab something. Yeah, database level means definitely it should be a report, so it should be some queries. So suppose if you need some data, so let me check the table. I don't remember the table name. Suppose how to.
Will it be possible for you to send us the directory of the tables which is used in the HANA? Means user
Directory
information.
of the tables. There the lakhs of
Yes.
tables are there. Then what tables you required here?
But main table where the user data is stored and then what are the role assigned to the table. Suppose what I'm asking like I'm in the peoples of suppose okay we are having PSOPR definition. So PSOPR definition what are the users are there in that system
Mhm.
particular instance. So we are getting that after the select statement. So like that if some instance is there how many users are there count of users and all. So what is the table name? So
SAP
like that.
level, I can provide you the list of tables like a user master record stored into the user 02. Then, so
Okay.
USR
Yes, sir.
tables for the roles and everything. So TBDLS is for the logical system tables. So T
These
variants
are,
for the this one. So like that, I can sell you for the SAP. These are the tables. So we
yeah.
have some list of tables. I have the document. I will share with you.
Sure, sure. Yeah, that will be helpful. Yeah.
So those tables are there. So those list of tables and the transaction that I will share it. I have. So maybe here HANA database level means so tables will starts with the M underscore, the system internal tables, not the SAP tables. SAP tables always it will be like this only. So whatever the tables, some internal tables are there, HANA internal tables that we will call it as the views here. So that will be in the, so m underscore system, m underscore something like that only here. So maybe if you query it here, suppose like to check auditing logs in SAP HANA, there is a table. So system privileges, auditing admins are required. See, so viewing the auditing logs. Auditing logs. This is SAP level, that is fine. So tables. See, audit underscore log, audit underscore log, audit underscore log. Yeah, there is a audit underscore log. So we have enabled everything here. So everything will be recorded here. What it is doing, which user, what is trying to do, mandatory audit policies. He done the some mandatory audit policies. He done the changes. So it is doing the some select statements, some insert, some updation, some deletions, whatever he is doing, whatever everything is recording. See here, everything is recording. So this table will grow. This table will grow like anything here. Why? Because all the actions will be recorded in the database level. So this table will go like this. So like this, we can pull the data, then we can export the results. So then we can provide to the management, then they will clearly check it out. So they will clearly check that what is happening in the database level, or what are the event actions they were executed. So then like that, so they will do the some investigations on this part. A lot of logs will be generated. That's so like this, we have to execute using the queries, we can execute it. SAP level, it's very simple. In the SAP level, if you go to the SM19 or somewhere SM20, so there we can find out the some. So if you go to the SM20, if the auditing is enabled, evaluate the security audit logs, then we can get the some data here. We can get the data here. So audit logs, SM20, security audit logs. So SAP level, he done something. So then that will be recorded in the SM here also. So, but first of all, you need to enable the auditing policies here as well. Filter conditions, you have to enable it here. Then only that will be recorded. So what conditions, what you have to activate it, what profile you have to create it here, what you want to do. So all those things, if you activate it, that will be recorded. Especially for the critical finance systems and everything, they will carefully enable these kind of things. Okay. So tomorrow we'll